What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Weapon Collective. My name's Jeff, and we are back down in the Gat Cave today. I'm making a video on SHTF, WROLTO What the hell is that? Most of you probably know, but SHTF is shiz hitting the fan. WROL is without rule of law, and Teotwaki is the end of the world as we know it. So I've seen a bunch of these videos on YouTube, and I've had a request from a viewer who really wanted to see my take on this. And it's basically 5 guns, end of the world's happening, what do you do? This is my take, my interpretation on what I would choose today. You ask me in a month, that might change, but today, this is what I came up with, and this is all in good fun. This is my opinion. I am not telling anybody this is the correct way to do it. So you are free to disagree, that's great, but this is what I'm going with today, and let's get into it. Okay, so I'm not sure of a clear set of rules on this, so I might be throwing a few audibles here and there. And also, I don't know the circumstances exactly, so it's kind of a vague general idea. I'm assuming that the world has undergone some series or single unfortunate event, and we are no longer with the rule of law, or the shiz has really hit the fan. Things are popping off. This is what I would bring, but I am also assuming I'm not, a bomb goes off and I'm running out of the house. Like, I have a little bit of time to collect these things and make some decisions. But that is why we're doing it now and thinking about these things, so I don't have to spend the time thinking about what do I bring. It's where is it? Let's get it. Anyway, let's start with gun number 1. And this is going to be a gun that in this situation is almost certainly always on my person. And so that is obviously going to be a handgun, a semi-automatic pistol, and I decided to go with this one. It's not the coolest gun. It's not even my favorite gun from this manufacturer, but it is a good one for this circumstance, and I'll tell you why, for me, in my opinion. And what is that? Well, I went with a Glock 19. And I don't like Glock 19s nearly as much as I like Glock 17s, full size, or even a Glock 19X or a Glock 45, which is full size frame and the compact size slide. The frame on these, the grip is just too small for my hand. I don't like it. I can't get as good of a purchase on it, but when I put this magwell from SLR Rifle Works on here, one I really like, it really does do a good job of making that grip fit my hand much better. So this is much more comfortable than just a stock Glock 19 grip. This is a Gen 5, not that that matters, but I would, in a perfect world, make some changes to this because I wanted to run a suppressor with this, have the option of running a suppressor, I should say. And this is an Erector 9 from Q. And so the only threaded barrel I had was in titanium nitride, and I would prefer a black barrel in this situation. But we'll pretend that's black, okay? So I have that barrel, and this is where the audibles will be coming in, is I'm gonna say I'm also bringing a non-threaded barrel. And this one happens to be ported. This has been to Monsoon Tactical and has the Lucky 7 barrel porting. Now, I didn't choose this gun because of it. This gun ended up being the one that had the acro on it, and I'll tell you about that selection as well. But first, let's start again with talking about this suppressor. So Q Erector 9, and I like this one. I chose it. Into the world, I'm probably spray painting it black, but this one is probably, or it is the most modular can I have for 9mm. Like, this is a full-size Erector 9, and you can see that that's about half of the baffles in it, and you can remove each of these baffles, configure it in any length, just depending on what you want the purpose to be. So you want it as quiet as possible. You throw that whole baffle stack on there and run it at full length. Or you want a little more concealability, then you can take it all the way down to this last baffle. It's not very quiet at that point, but having options in this situation is crucial in my opinion. So I also have a Surefire X300 pistol light, and then back to the barrel. I do want to be able to swap these barrels out because most of the time, like I said, this is going to be on my person and I'm not going to have this can on it. And in that case, I don't want a threaded barrel. I just want to be able to run a highly concealable little handgun. And that brings me to, I didn't select this gun because of the barrel porting. That just ended up being the case because this one has the aim point acro. I have other Glock 19s that were set up with other optics, and in the end of the world, the shiz hit the fan, I absolutely am going with an acro. And let me tell you why. First, it is a fully enclosed emitter. So I'm not as worried about weather. It's more waterproof. It is, I'm not getting mud, snow, rain, crap, blood in this situation into and covering up my emitter. It's just one little wipe off that back window and I'm ready to roll again. So that's important to me. The battery life and ease of changing the battery on these is important. So 50,000 hours of continuous on. Battery door right on the side over here that you can swap at 2032 and easily do that. And then the most important thing to me was ease of removal. And the aim point acro has one little screw right here, a T10 Torx, unscrew that, couple turns, pop that baby off. And I can still use the iron sights. I want options, like I said, and to be able to pop this optic on and off like that is crucial for me. So I went with the aim point acro that was on this slide with the ported barrel. Now, I don't care about this barrel. I would take just any old Glock 19 barrel, but I want 2 barrels so I can run the suppressor. And then I don't know the rules on magazines, but I am taking one with an extender on it. I don't know if I get 1, I get 10, who knows? But that is another reason I chose the Glock 19. Beyond concealability, it is the most widely owned pistol in the United States. And that means I'm coming across other Glocks, other Glock 19s, and say I have a Glock 17 and I come across somebody that has lost their Glock 17, I don't have magazine compatibility with that. But if I'm running a Glock 19 and I come across a Glock 17, I can run longer mags, but I can't run shorter mags. So this is parts commonality, magazine commonality, caliber commonality with so many guns. So 9mm is going to be one of the most abundant rounds out there. The Glock 19 is, I think, the most popular handgun in the United States. And then I can fit all the Glock magazines with the exception of the slim bodies in this and just make sure I can do battlefield pickups, all that stuff. That is why I went with the Glock 19. It makes sense to me. So that's what I'm doing. There's guns I'd rather have if I had to make a particular shot, but kind of jack of all trades, use with in commonality with other guns, I'm going with this. In the SHTF situation, the Glock 19 makes a lot of sense to me. So that's gun number 1. Okay, next gun. I view it in a similar way that I do the Glock 19. I want to get a rifle that is very common, and that is, of course, going to be an AR-15 chambered in 5.56. So I am close to that, but this is actually an M16, so it is full auto. In an end-of-the-world situation, even though I don't think I'm going to be using it all that often, I do want to have a full auto gun. So this is an M16 lower with an AR-15 upper. This is a Type A with an 11-inch barrel. And being chambered in 5.56 is important to me because just like the Glock 19, I want to be able to come across ammunition in the wild. A gun like this, chambered in 5.56, I can shoot 5.56 or 2.23. If I have a gun that's chambered in 2.23, I am limited to that. Pressures of 5.56 are not compatible with a gun that's chambered in 2.23. So I want to be able to pick up both of those calibers in the wild. And this is my little shorty gun. Like I said, it's 11 inches. I have tons of time on the trigger with this thing. I love this gun. It is plenty accurate out to a couple hundred yards. And this is my intermediate distance, but CQB, short, truck gun, all that stuff. This is a nice little kind of jack of all trades, with the exception of really reaching out and touching someone at distance. But this thing is awesome. Set up for night vision with this laser. And if it's the end of the world, I am definitely bringing my nods. So trying to have as much tactical advantage as possible in this situation. So of course I want my nods, I want a laser, I want white light, and I want a suppressor. So I have a Huxworks Flow 5.56K can up front. I'm running a mod light PLHV2 18350 that I am operating with this Unity TNVC tap switch. Front switch is white light, back switch is the laser. And then I do have a 100 Concepts cap on this white light, so I don't have a negligent white light discharge. Don't want that. I am running an Aimpoint Comp M5 on the GBRS Group Hydra mount. And besides that, you know, nothing like really important to the SHTF situation. Does have a Troy vertical grip, a buttstock, B5 buttstock, a cheek riser from a regular defense, and then an emissary development pistol grip. And I really like this grip. It's very comfortable, and an HRF magwell. So make those reloads really easy, but this is great little gun for all types of uses, and feel the most confident, comfortable with this gun. But the gun itself is the lower. So another audible, which I don't know if it's legit or not in these situations, but what I'm doing is I'm saying this lower is the gun, and then I am going to be bringing my Knights Armament SR30 upper that is compatible with this same lower. Set up in a similar way, but 5.56 is awful loud, even when it's suppressed. You can't mitigate that subsonic crack. So what I want is a little stealthy option. This is a 9-inch barrel on this with a suppressor from Knights. This is a CRS QDC 762 suppressor. And if you get 300 blackout subsonic rounds, this thing is very quiet and very stealthy. And not only is it quiet, the suppressor helps mitigate flash, which suppresses your location. So I want to be able to sneak around in the dark with this thing with a laser and nods and go unseen. So I am going to say this gun has two uppers, and one of them is the SR30 in 300 blackout, and then the other is the Type A in 5.56. So this is kind of the Swiss Army lower, and gives me the option of quiet and concealed at night with this thing. They're both set up for night vision, but this one is much quieter. I'm going two uppers on this one, so we're two guns down. Next up, you gotta have this one. This is the shotgun. So I am going with the Beretta 1301 tactical semi-auto shotgun. This thing is probably the gun that I have the most time on of shotguns. I don't shoot shotguns all that often, but I probably have the most time on this one. And this thing is sweet. I really like this. The shotgun is an awesome gun for these situations. And really, it's about the versatility of the ammunition. And you can run birdshot, you can hunt with this thing, you can run buckshot, or slugs and really do some damage. And it is just a fantastic gun and very versatile depending on the load. So obviously a 1301, and this one I do have a Surefire Scout Light that I'm operating with the mod button over here. Then this side saddle for the shells, and then a Holosun 508T for an optic back here. And then this is a chisel buttstock, and unfortunately I got this one right before they came out with the folding. So this isn't a folder. This is a really awesome shotgun. I love it. Very reliable and just perfect for SHTF situation. And I did put some cushion on here because it's just a bare metal piece, and when I took a shotgun class with this thing, it really beat up my cheek. So little comfort on the back here with wrapped up with some Coban, and other than that, just pretty self-explanatory. Beretta 1301, great little tactical shotgun. Depending on the load, like I said, can be so versatile and have a wide array of uses in a SHTF situation. Next gun is, this is where I was debating what to bring. Like, should I bring just a dedicated 300 blackout gun, or at this point I want to reach out at a little more distance? And so I did end up deciding on the AR-15. This is a 13.7, and I want to be able to use this in multiple roles. I want kind of an intermediate length. I didn't want a 16-inch barrel because I still want a suppressor. One thing I forgot to mention about the suppressors in on previous guns is the sound suppression, not for concealability, but for hearing. Like, I'm not going to be running around the city at the end of the world with ear pro on, most likely. You're going to be shooting, and without ear pro, I mean, in the end of the world situation, hearing is going to be pretty important. And I don't want to just destroy my hearing. So I'm trying to mitigate that as best I can by running suppressed. And a 16-inch barrel with a suppressor just gets very long if I'm on the move. If I'm just laying in the prone, no problem. But this is kind of a gun that I would see moving around quite a bit, taking longer shots. So I went back and forth. Do I want to put a bipod on this? And I'm still on the fence. I probably do, but I also want to be able to run and use this if I have to in tight quarters. Also 5.56, so I want to be able to share caliber with my M16 and not have to be lugging around a whole bunch of ammunition of different calibers. So I do have this. It does have the scope switch, which makes it a little faster than other guns that are running in LPVO. And if you haven't seen this, this is really cool from Antimatter Industries. It's just a little slider that will adjust your scope. It is, you can zoom in and zoom out very fast. And it is a really cool little invention. I do kind of worry about durability, but I believe the testing on this is pretty robust. But like I said, this is kind of that intermediate gun where I can really reach out or run around town with this thing and get the job done. I do have it set up with a Dead Air Sandman K, and then Mod Light PLHV2 18350 that I'm operating with this Axon button. And you do have to back off that slider to get the white light, but the white light on this is probably less used than my 11-inch. And then I do have a BCM vertical grip, like I said, the scope switch, which just makes it fast. And I like to have that option. I've shot this gun quite a bit out to 400 yards and then close, and the scope switch is awesome for that. It's not too heavy running with this. I've ran my ass off with this gun and it's cumbersome, but climbed ladders with it, all that stuff, and it is not crazy heavy. It is a DI gun, so it does have part compatibility with other AR-15s, blow gas tube, or a BCG or anything. Hopefully I'm finding other AR-15s along the way that I can fix anything that breaks on this. Obviously, you need the tools for that too. That's going to be an important thing to have in this situation is some tools that you can work on your gun. It is such a common gun that most of these things I'm hoping will be out in the wild somewhere. Best case, they just never break. But if we're in the end of the world, things have gone south pretty bad. So who knows? Plan for the worst, hope for the best. And then this is a Vortex Razor Gen 3 1:10. So it has plenty of magnification. And then I am going with this little Trijicon RMRCC on the 45 offset, and also running a Magpul bad lever. Great little gun. This thing is accurate. And that is my fourth gun, AR-15. This is the Type A M4. Okay, and then the last one, I did want kind of more full power cartridge and a gun that can reach out much farther than that 5.56. But I've also weighed the options of what are common calibers out there, because I want to be able to, like with all the other guns, use ammunition that is found ammunition. And I decided I'm gonna go with a common caliber, and that's .308. So I had the HK MR762A1. And this thing, heavy as hell, but it is much more dedicated use. This one, I will be most likely in a prone position, getting long shots off. This isn't CQB with this gun, but it is a very reliable, awesome rifle. And .308, you can shoot accurately, hunt, do many different things with it. This one has the bipod on it because I will be shooting from the prone on this. And then I have this Night Force 5-25 optic, which is awesome. And then I am running the Aimpoint RDS on the 45-degree offset. So if I had to, if I'm zoomed out and had to make a close shot, then I'm just rolling over to the red dot. In a perfect world, I would probably rather have a 12 top on here, just rise my head up over, but this is what it is and how it's set up. Let's go through it. So out front, I have the Dead Air Nomad, and then I have a Scout Light from Surefire that I'm operating with the Surefire SR07 pressure pad. I don't envision using white light on this gun very often, but nice to have. And then of course the scope, the aim point off the 45, and other than that, it's all just stock MR762, 16.5-inch barrel. And this is, like I said, a more dedicated use scenario, kind of posting watch, sniper, whatever the case. This thing is a mean gun. And like I said, you could also hunt with it if you had to, which you may in this situation, who really knows. But anyhow, that is the MR762A1. Okay, so those are the 5 guns that I chose today. Like I said, in a week, a month, maybe I would change. There's always a few guns that are very similar through all these ones I've seen. And then there were a couple that I was trying to debate. Do I take this? Do I take that? And I kind of got around that by bringing different uppers, which may be cheating, but who knows? I don't really know the rules to this, but it is a fun little exercise. And remember, I'm not saying this is the correct configuration. This is just what I was thinking about. And I'm not trying to get in a debate about being correct or incorrect. You're free to disagree with any of these guns, but that is just what came to mind today. And it's a fun little exercise. And who knows? Hopefully it's one of those things that we never have to really find out. but it's always good to be prepared. And I don't know about you, I feel much more optimistic today than I did a year ago. A year ago, it felt like there was much more potential for a SHTF situation actually coming to life. Now, there's always the possibility, but I'm more optimistic about the future. And with that, please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I'm Jeff for the Weapon Collective, reminding you, keep your weapons collected and keep collecting your weapons. I'll catch you next time.